back to CSC 151 Computer Applications. In this video, we're going to go over for loops. So, what is a for loop? Well, first and foremost, let me just write this little code here where I'll say x equals 0, and I'll say while x is less than 5, and I'll say, x equals x plus 1. Let me do a plus equals there. Plus equals 1, just to get myself in a habit of better coding, or less characters, I should say. And then I say a print x. We know this code will work. There we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It will go in and print from 1 to 5. But in order to count from 1 to 5, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 separate commands. And that's a little bit much. But what I have here is, think about it, I have a start point, I have an end point, I have myself a counter. I could merge all 3 of these lines essentially in one, okay? So let me just do this. I will say for x, not fox, for x in range 5, okay? And then I'll just say simply print x. And that right there is going to have essentially my counter, my start point, and my end point. What is x? X will default to 0. So there it is, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's my end point? Right there. I have a start point and an end point in the same line. And since I did not specify a counter, what I have then is I have a counter of 1. So I have 3 different items all in one line, automatically, going from 4 lines down to 2 lines of code. And you can use this to get some very, very good nitty-gritty details out of this. Because what I can do is, instead of just saying in range of 5, I could do something like this for like 4x in range, 0, 10, 2. I will now I've defined myself a start point, an end point, and a counter. And that's a counter of 2. So it goes 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. And if I wanted to see the 10, I guess I could just put an 11 there. There goes 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Or maybe I could say this, I'm going to start from 50, I'm going to go down to 0, and I'll have a counter of -5. 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. As long as I set my start point, my end point, and my counter, I could do this forward and backwards, all in a grand total of 2 lines. Now, just make sure that you don't do something like this, where it says like, oh, 50 will end at 100, at 1,000 or whatever, because we're going to have start point, end point, negative. Well, 50 is not going to ever hit 100, because that 50 is going to be going -5 to 45 to 40, so on and so forth, and we'll get ourselves an endless loop, although in this case, it doesn't actually do an endless loop on a for loop, it actually just stops and says, hey, nope, this is going to break, don't do it. So I'm glad the program figured out that that was going to be an endless loop. And, that's basically the same sort of thing. I could do this with a word as well. For instead of having a range of 10, I can instead just say inside, banana. And I'll print the B-A-N-A-N-A. Banana is now my range. It's a string. There's the first step. Not right now, Graham, after the video. Second step, third step, fourth step, fifth step, sixth step. The end of the word is literally the end of the for loop. So I still have my end point, my start point, and a counter of 1 because I did not define a counter. I could also do a list here. So if I were to say, let me just say, I'll just use the word y, and y is equal to my good old friends Alice. I'll take you out in a moment, Graham. Bob. And Charlie. And Danny. There we go. Eric is going to be out of this one. So for x in y. Now my endpoint is my entire list. So the last one of the list. And I hit play, I get Alice, Bob, Charlie, Danny. It went in order. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3, Step 4. It defaults to a counter of 1. But I still have essentially a start point, an end point, and a counter all in one line of code, or 2 lines of code instead. So yeah, instead of having to do these very long loops, we could simply do something of saying in the range, and we set our start point. I don't know, maybe my start point's 70, my end point is 700, and my counter is going to be 15. So I'm going to go from 70 to 700 in increments of 15. And there we go, 70, 85, 100, so on and so forth. Oh, and wow, that actually would have gotten us, 5. That would have landed us exactly on 700 in the next step. So yeah, just to prove the point, there's 701, boop, and there it is. So yeah, that's a for loop. It is a much more robust way to do a loop, and you can set yourself endpoints and start points and make you count by different numbers other than 1, all in the same line. For loops are very helpful. So in the next video, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a couple of cool things using just some of the stuff we've done here, like, using a for loop and using a while loop and using some ifs and that sort of stuff. I'll be making some cool little details and little things to just get your brain flowing. See you in the next video.